Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I'm covering the future of the Chrysler brand, looking at the current sales, the new direction they seem to be headed as they backtrack on going all electric by 2028, their plan to get back to building affordable luxury cars, Chrysler's new SRT models, and other new 2026 and beyond launches, including a new crossover, a sub $30,000 car, and a new sedan. There are also comments by Chrysler CEO Christine Feuell along the way to provide more insight into where the brand is going. So let's begin. Chrysler actually had really good sales considering they are down to mainly one model. The total sales volume from 2024 consisted of 124,686 units, and that included 109,000 units from the Pacifica and Pacifica Hybrid, over 10,000 from the Voyager, which is just a rebadged Pacifica base model, and over 5,000 leftover units of the 2023 Chrysler 300. So of course, while sales are hugely down from the late 2000s and early 2010s, it's due to having to rely on just the Pacifica, and with more models, sales could very well improve dramatically again. There have been rumors for a while now that the Chrysler brand was headed towards either being sold by Stellantis or canceled entirely. Chrysler CEO Christine Feuell spoke at the 2025 Chrysler Carlisle Nationals this past July, where she point-blank denied this, saying, quote, "I want to put to rest any thoughts, rumors, or assumptions that it is being sold. It is not. Like I said, Antonio Filosa is now at the helm of the company. He believes in Chrysler, he's rebuilding our portfolio, and he is doubling down his investment to grow in the North American market and reclaim leadership in all of our brands." End quote. So these comments were very direct and honest, not business jargon or management lingo, and not just a cliche answer like we're sometimes used to. For Chrysler fans, all of that points in the right direction. If we remember, it was Carlos Tavares' Dare Forward 2030 plan introduced after the merger, where by 2030 he wanted 100% of the Stellantis sales in Europe to be battery electric vehicles and 50% of American sales to be BEVs. This included making Chrysler go fully electric by 2028. Of course, this is no longer the case with the new CEO Antonio Filosa, as well as US emissions requirements being reversed. So this is allowing Chrysler to move forward with a variety of platforms instead, like traditional internal combustion, hybrid, as well as electric. Feuell also talked about this, saying, quote, "To better meet the needs of our customers and provide freedom of choice across our offerings, both Chrysler and Alfa Romeo are pursuing multi-energy powertrain strategies for our future product lineup." End quote. Stellantis is quickly realizing that moving forward solely with the BEVs doesn't work with the American market, and having multi-energy platforms is the only way to proceed. Stellantis is quickly realizing that moving forward solely with the BEVs doesn't work with the American market, and having multi-energy platforms is the only way to proceed. We learned this with next to no one buying the 2024 to 2025 Dodge Charger Daytona EV, and Dodge then releasing inline-six engines and promising a return of the V8s. Unlike previous Stellantis CEO Carlos Tavares, who was EV obsessed and not really interested in the success of the American brands, new CEO Antonio Filosa is definitely more welcoming of combustion engines, and he is more aware that North American customers have very different attitudes and buying habits from Europeans. Chrysler has definitely lost its brand image, but their goal is to refocus on their roots and maintain a level of affordability, like blue-collar luxury, which helped to make them popular throughout their history. Chrysler offered affordable luxurious vehicles from their inception all the way into the early 1970s. They re-entered the luxury space in the 2000s with the likes of the 300, Crossfire, Aspen, and even Town & Country. These vehicles always offered a good balance of comfort, luxury, and performance at a price that was always reasonable and cheaper than other models from Audi, BMW, and Mercedes. Many factors contributed to Chrysler eventually dwindling down to just one car, but Feuell talked about getting back to that affordable luxury mindset. Quote, "Something that would be beautiful and fun to drive and aspirational because you want people to feel proud that it's wearing a Chrysler badge." End quote. The affordable luxury doesn't mean a cheap shitbox, but rather giving owners useful features and materials that they want, utilizing economies of scale, and not necessarily adding every single bell and whistle, and all that is exactly what Chrysler did with the popular 300C. Chrysler was always connected to the working-class North American family, and they have to get back to selling cars that reflect this. With news of the SRT division being revived earlier this year, many of us wondered what vehicles and brands might be making a return or being released. The 2026 Durango SRT Hellcat will be joined by the upcoming return of the Ram TRX, as well as one other Ram vehicle, and surely an SRT Charger too. Now Feuell has confirmed that she too is excited to bring back SRT, with what she says is an awesome plan formed after meeting with her CEO counterparts from Dodge and Ram, Tim Kuniskis and Matt McAleer. She had a very interesting quote, saying, quote, "To cut to the chase, I think you can expect to see some SRT models under the Chrysler brand." End quote. This definitely sparks some interest, but I'm also cautiously optimistic. First, Chrysler has no models right now other than the Pacifica minivan, so an SRT model does seem quite far away. Also, she said she thinks we can expect some Chrysler SRT models, but that doesn't seem exactly conclusive and still seems speculative to me. It does make sense that Chrysler revives some models and tries them out, and with some success they can then release an SRT model, but that to me is by no means guaranteed. Right now, while an SRT Pacifica would be awesome and unique, as highlighted by many artist renderings in the past few years, it would not sell any, if at all, and it would need a lot of adaptations to become a true SRT vehicle. So Chrysler has some work to do before we see an SRT vehicle from them. So with all this being said, Chrysler still needs new vehicles as it currently only has the Pacifica. Well, it seems they are getting new products, starting with 2026 launches. Those include a heavily updated Pacifica, using the brand's new design language. There's also an all-new D-segment crossover codenamed C6X, riding on a multi-energy platform. We've been teased with a few Chrysler Airflow concepts the past few years, so it could be pretty similar to that. There will be another new crossover slotting beneath that, likely the small car Feuell talked about Chrysler working on, a sub-$30,000 car that will be beautiful and fun to drive. She noted that the average new vehicle transaction price is now $49,000, and this car could change that. There will also be a new sedan. Feuell also confirmed with 100% certainty that Chrysler is working on a new car, and she hears that people want to see the 300 come back, which may or may not use the 300 name again. All of this is major and brand-saving news for Chrysler, but they need to get moving and actually start putting some of these words to action. Otherwise, they're just in limbo, and waiting around in the car industry will just cause a slow death that we are already starting to witness. Hopefully, the right leadership group as well as proper funding directed towards Chrysler can save this historic brand. Still, there are no guarantees, as even Dodge has been unable to sell some vehicles, like the Charger Daytona and Hornet, despite them marketing and releasing those vehicles as best they could. So that's it for this video on the future of the Chrysler brand. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Will Chrysler be able to survive and thrive once again, or are they doomed on a path to obsolescence? As always, thanks for watching, make sure to like and subscribe for all your Mopar content, and I'll see you in the next video.